Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for coming, and welcome to this beautiful facility, the rooms, here in St. John's this morning. We have a little bit of a view that we can see, although this morning it's been coming and going with the unfortunate warm and foggy wet weather that we're having this morning. But we're very glad that you've all joined us. I'd like to give a special welcome to those of you who are joining us via our virtual live stream today. Hopefully, wherever you are, whether it's inside the province or out, Mother Nature is keeping you warm and safe, and the weather is not dampening your plans for today too much. My name is Michelle Snow, and I am going to be your facilitator and your MC for today's events. We have a very full agenda packed with information, plenty of interaction amongst this great group of people we've assembled here today, and we hope what will be a lively and inspired discussion as the day goes forward. I'll be back a little later in the morning to give you some instructions on how the discussion part of today will work. But first, a few important housekeeping items that I'd like to share with you. In the event of an emergency, if we have to vacate this area of the building, I would like to draw your attention to the two emergency stairwells on my far left, near the elevators and the museum, and on the right side of the building over here. You also, of course, could exit via the stairwell in which many of you would have come up to reach the third level, and proceed safely out the exits on the first floor of the building to a safe location. As you may have already noticed, we have media and members of the provincial government who are here today that will be taking video and photography for the use of promotional and educational purposes. These photographs and videos may be published and or made available to the media and other third parties. If you have any concerns about your image being used for these purposes, please feel free to see me on the break or your room facilitators in the room later on this morning. Many of you will have experience in this facility, and you will know that the cell phone reception can be quite spotty throughout the building. I'd first like to kindly ask you to turn your smartphones or cell phones to vibrate or silent so it is not disruptive to the proceedings here today. There is a public Wi-Fi hotspot located on the 4th floor in the Arts Cafe, should you need to access that. Or if you do need to take a call or undertake some business, we'd ask that you kindly move to a quiet location so as not to disrupt the proceedings. We would, however, encourage you to engage in the conversation today on social media, those of you here in the room and also those of you who are joining through our live webcast. The hashtag TheWayForward will be used to track the conversation, and we encourage you to use that if you so choose. And finally, the staff at the rooms, as well as the organization team, which are easily identifiable here today, want to ensure that you have a quality experience. If you have any questions or concerns or anything to help make your experience more enjoyable today, please do not hesitate to ask, and we will try our best to accommodate you. So now I would like to introduce our host for today's event, the Honourable Dwight Ball, Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Thank you, Michelle. First of all, I want to begin, before we begin our day, I just want to let everyone know, those of you that have been following the media this morning realize that we have several areas of our province that have been severely impacted by rainfall over the weekend. We have crews on site. The ministers, Joyce and Hawkins, are with us. They've already provided updates, and they will continue to provide updates as the day goes on. We'll be supporting our communities and residents that have been impacted severely impacted by this rainfall throughout our province. I will begin today by thanking everyone that's in the room, and as Michelle already said, we have a number of people that are also joining us online. You're joining us because this is an important discussion that will help shape the future of Newfoundland and Labrador. It has been a year of change. It's been a year of challenge. It's been a year of making some difficult decisions to deal with the difficult realities that we face. So that naturally leads people to wonder what the future holds. And that's what today's event is all about. It's about our future. We want people to understand that we're going to provide quality programs and services while restoring fiscal balance. We want people to know that we will encourage economic growth here in our province. We want people to see how education, how health, culture, and many of our other priorities will be advanced in the coming years. We want Newfoundlanders and Labradorians to be confident about the future So today, we present the way forward. Over the course of the day, we will lay out examples of initiatives that are aimed at strengthening our economic foundation, improving service experiences, making the public sector more efficient, and achieving better outcomes for the people of the province. All of the initiatives that we present today are designed to achieve meaningful, positive change without driving cost. It is important to note that we cannot cover everything that the provincial government has planned in just one day. Our intention is to give you a sense of our overall approach so that you are in a position to provide the feedback on that approach. I'm confident that we will gain insights from you today and that those insights will advance the suite of initiatives that we have developed. The discussions that we have will help us finalize our vision for the future of our province. Our vision will direct a way through our challenges and help achieve greater prosperity for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. But before we begin the discussion about navigating the challenges, we need to agree on what those challenges are. For some time, the conversation about our provincial economy has been focused on falling oil prices. And now that has created the financial challenges. That only captures part of the challenges that we face. Our focus cannot exclusively be on revenues. Our focus needs to move more towards spending and outcomes. Falling oil prices simply expose long-standing issues on how the provincial government spends public money and the results that we see from that expenditures. So how do we get to this current state? A contributing factor was the strategy of strategies approach, and that was used in the past to address many and every issue that was facing our province. If a problem was identified, a strategy followed, complete with money and tailored programs. Perhaps even a special office will be created within the department. And to give you an idea how much strategizing was going on, in 2015, the provincial government released 10 new strategies. There were already 7 others with significant resources attached, and there were many more that were being developed. That approach is great if you want to give the impression that there's a lot being done. However, that approach has not done anything to report on outcomes, how they would be improved. That approach has not done anything to control program spending. That approach has only contributed to Newfoundland and Labrador having the largest program expense per capita in the country. The approach was simply unsustainable. So we're here today to propose something better, something that will deliver on each of the 5 points in our action plan so that we restore fiscal balance while promoting openness, transparency, and accountability, building a stronger and smarter economy, improving health and health care, supporting safe and sustainable communities, and investing in our future through education. We intend to establish one vision that guides all actions by the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador in a coordinated, cost-effective, and controlled manner. Your feedback today will help us finalize that vision. When it is completed this fall, our government will release it publicly as a record of commitments and as a standard of conduct to which we will hold ourselves accountable. The actions that we present today will give you a sense of our overall vision for the future. They are grouped under 3 themes: securing our footing, realizing our potential, and building for our future. Actions under securing our footing theme are focused on reducing government spending and stimulating the economy. You have already seen some of the initiatives aimed at reducing spending. An example was the decision to restructure government departments and eliminate 5 deputy ministers. This represented a 19% reduction in staff, and they were at the management level. We will continue to explore many more initiatives related to government spending under the Securing Our Footing theme later this morning, and you will have the opportunity to comment on the different initiatives that we present. However, improving our fiscal environment requires more than just spending reductions. We must also support economic activity within the province and share information about our government's plan for major future investments. As part of doing that, I am pleased to announce our government will be the first in our province's history to deliver a multi-year infrastructure plan to the public in advance of the budget. An updated rolling 5-year plan will be released each year. This plan will outline our commitments to education, to health, to buildings, roads, infrastructure over the next 5 years. It also speaks to our commitment to openness, transparency, and accountability. And this will be beneficial in many ways. For the construction industry, it will provide predictability to better inform your planning, which in turn helps the provincial government build infrastructure in a timely, cost-effective manner. For those employed in the construction industry, it will provide a better understanding of infrastructure work that's anticipated in the province and your potential for employment opportunities. Finally, for the people in this province, it will provide greater clarity and transparency about how public money will be invested. As part of building our economy, our government will also change the approach that has been used to support key sectors within the province. We will set ambitious targets to motivate development in industries with growth potential and respond to calls for diversification. An example of that approach will be our use of our plans to promote growth in the agriculture industry. The industry currently produces or provides direct and indirect employment for about 6,500 people, generates sales about $500 million annually. Supporting the development of this industry will not only boost the economy, but it will also improve food security within our province. At present, the provincial industry can only satisfy 10% of our overall food requirements. To address this, we will modernize regulations to support agriculture development and increase the availability of Crown land for the industry. Our goal will be to increase the agriculture activity such that our food self-sufficiency doubles, that's 20% by 2022. Over the course of this morning, we will discuss several more initiatives aimed at stimulating the economy. You will have an opportunity to comment on the different initiatives that we present and our overall approach, so I look forward to receiving your feedback. Our initiatives under the Realizing Our Potential theme are focused on addressing trends that have a negative impact on economic growth and drive up government spending. For instance, we know that we need to address population decline and labor market issues that are facing our province. As a response to those issues, one initiative under the Realizing Our Potential theme is aimed at increasing immigration to the province. Immigration plays a key role in supporting economic and labor market growth, and it contributes to the social and cultural vibrancy of our province. In 2015, we had 1,100 immigrants come to Newfoundland and Labrador. Through a combination of promotional efforts and cooperation with our partners, both federally and locally, we are confident that we can increase the annual number of immigrants coming to our province by 500 each year. Our goal is to see Newfoundland and Labrador welcoming 1,600 immigrants by 2022. These are ambitious goals, but they will also be key to turning the tide on a number of our provincial trends. Further to that point, we need to improve educational outcomes. That is why I initiated a task force on improving educational outcomes. The task force is focused on improving K-12 students' literacy and numeracy outcomes, enhancing teacher training and skills development, considering the development of new curriculum areas, and also improving student wellness and mental health programming. Working with teachers and parents, our goal is to make improvements to the education system that will benefit our youth for years to come. These are just a few examples of the initiatives our government has planned to achieve meaningful and positive change for our province. Several ministers will join us this afternoon to explore many more initiatives under the Realizing Our Potential theme, and you will have the opportunity to provide your input. At the end of our day, I will discuss initiatives under Building for Our Future theme. These initiatives are meant to create the long-term conditions which are necessary for growth and prosperity in our province. An example of our plans under this theme would be supporting a successful transition towards a revitalized ground fish industry in the coming years. I will be exploring this and many other initiatives with you at the end of the day. Now, presented together, these initiatives will give a clear sense of our approach to restoring fiscal balance, while respecting our duty to grow the economy, provide quality services, and promote better outcomes for people. Our government is excited about the vision and the initiatives that will come out of this position and for the future success of our province. We are now providing you a first look at our vision and our initiatives to promote healthy discussion and ensure that we have a common view of the future of the key stakeholders in our province. In this room, we have leaders in the province's business, labor, community, arts sector. Now, you were invited here so that we could benefit from your unique perspectives, and we would gain insights from your reactions to our plans for the future. Joining us online, we have individuals from all over the province who appreciate the importance of this discussion, and they are making their time available to follow the proceedings. You all have one common thread. You're invested in the future of Newfoundland and Labrador, and we are willing, and you are willing, to play a role in shaping the future of this province with us. The feedback that we receive today from all participants will play a vital role in finalizing our vision. And so I want to thank you for your involvement. Working together, we will do what always happens in Newfoundland and Labrador. Expectations will be set, and then we will exceed them. The examples of this are all around us. Memorial University students won the Enactus World Cup Entrepreneur Competition. They did it by developing a way to help isolated communities grow their own fruits and vegetables. Their project speaks to how innovative we can be when we set our mind to a challenge. Katarina Roxton won a gold medal at the Paralympic Games, and she inspired the nation in the process. The Newfoundland Symphony Youth Orchestra, well, they earned top honors at Music Fest Canada, besting more than 300 groups from all parts of the country. Our arts community is an international powerhouse that produces films, visual art, dance productions, theater, music, written books. These are all celebrated throughout the world. Our world-class tourism industry has become the envy of other provinces and is setting a standard for them to follow. Our educational institutions have become international centers of excellence, with the Marine Institute being called on regularly by private industry to assist with vital research and development in a variety of areas that benefit the fishery and ocean studies. Our colleges produce skilled tradespeople who are sought all over the world. Our natural resource wealth is extraordinary and has the potential to ensure prosperity for the future generations if we develop it properly and if we maximize on its value. We have too much around us and too much talent to allow our fortunes to be dictated by the shifting tides of world markets and commodity pricing. Ingenuity and opportunity abound in Newfoundland and Labrador, and it is our vision to be focused on ensuring the provincial government plays its role to make the most of it. So with your input today and your partnership in the future of our province, we will finalize our plans, channel our trademark resilience, and together pursue a common vision towards what will be a stronger tomorrow. So thank you very much. I now invite our ministers to this stage so we can get this morning's proceedings moving. Michelle. So we will now begin our morning session, which, as I mentioned earlier, securing our footing. In this session, we will focus on our government plans to reduce spending and stimulate the economy. All the initiatives that we present today are designed to achieve meaningful, positive change without driving cost. At the outset, I want to note that we cannot cover everything that we have planned in just one day. Our intention is to give a general sense of the overall approach and get your feedback. So joining me today are ministers who lead departments that are vital to achieving our goals in this regard. Before each minister speaks to the specific initiatives within their departments, I want to revisit the important point that I would like for you to keep in front of you and keep front and center in your thought process. As I noted in my opening comments, discussions around the provincial economy often end up focusing on the state of oil prices. And this can lead to a misunderstanding of the province's fiscal challenges. So let me be clear. We cannot simply approach this as a revenue problem. We need to build a common understanding about the issues we need to address in the coming years before discussing our approach to securing our footing. As you will see from the graphic, even with the decline in oil prices, Newfoundland and Labrador still has higher revenue per capita than any of the other provinces. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, our province has had the highest revenue per capita amongst all provinces for 9 out of 10 years. So why is it necessary to raise taxes, to raise fees? Why is this province facing the fiscal challenges that we're experiencing today? It's because Newfoundland and Labrador has a serious spending problem. And how do we know that? The proof is that Newfoundland and Labrador has the highest per capita program expenses than any other province in Canada. So let's think about that for a moment. Some people would be quick to explain that away by saying that we have a small population and that the population is spread over a large geographic area. Well, that's true. But it's also true for Saskatchewan. It's also true for Manitoba. Our people are paying more for government programs and services than the people living in each of those provinces. So as you can see, the provincial government expenses have grown substantially. To put that in perspective, provincial revenue grew by 22.7% over the last 10 years, but expenses grew by 58%. So to clarify, In the last decade, our growth in expenses more than doubled our growth in revenues. If spending growth in recent years had been held to population and inflation growth, budget projections in 2016 would have projected a surplus of $108 million, not the $1.8 billion deficit that we're dealing with. So upon taking office, our government acted quickly to fully assess the financial situation. We then engaged the public about the long-term measures we would put in place to restore balance. Opinions about the approach the provincial government took, well, those were met with, I would say, many diverse responses, to say the least. Some people have advocated taking on more debt and spending our way through the foreseeable future to maintain momentum in the provincial economy. To support our economy, we have no choice but to increase our debt over the short term. But our province does not have the fiscal capacity to allow debt to continue to climb unchecked. Others have argued for sharp and immediate cuts for government programs and public sector jobs to reduce expenses quickly. While our government recognizes the need to reduce spending, making huge cuts within a short period of time would dramatically change the level of service received by people and would cause serious shocks to the economy. So we need to strike an appropriate balance between achieving necessary fiscal restraint and maintaining an environment that promotes economic strength. And we are committed to achieving fiscal balance, and we have developed an approach to do that in a responsible manner. We will get there by reducing spending responsibly, supporting new revenue generation through economic development, and improving our province's performance in key areas like health and immigration. Today, we reveal details of this approach. Today, we discuss our roadmap to get there. The First Minister to lead off that discussion will be the Honourable Cathy Bennett, who is Minister of Finance and the President of the Treasury Board. Minister Bennett, thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. The focus of my comments will be on plans to achieve a more efficient public sector operations. There are several goals we are trying to achieve with the initiatives I am about to discuss, and they include achieving deficit reduction targets, eliminating excess, and employing an overall approach that ensures all spending decisions are justified on a year-by-year basis with no automatic assumptions about spending from year to year. In mid-August, the provincial government announced the reorganization of a number of departments, and this included the elimination of 5 deputy minister roles, which represents a 19% reduction of staff at the very most senior level. Since we took office, we have been closely reviewing the structure of government and identifying opportunities to streamline. Implementing this new structure was another step in the process of living within the province's means, with a goal of setting the province on a stronger economic footing. Continuing this course, we will pursue a flatter, leaner management structure within the provincial government. In an effort to determine where operations can be more efficient, our government will review and streamline management functions. Our goal is to achieve a ratio of managers to staff that promotes strong service delivery, but at a reduced cost. In keeping with the theme of streamlining government, our government will adopt a zero-based budget approach to prepare for the upcoming budget. In previous years, departments would automatically begin the budget cycle with money allocated to specific activities or programs. Using the zero-based budgeting approach, departments must build their budget requests from zero and justify any continued investment in all operations. Performance measures are a key component of zero-based budgeting, which means departments have to demonstrate how each investment of taxpayer money benefits the citizens. When the justification isn't satisfactory, the money will not be spent. Analyzing expenditures line by line helps achieve savings, especially when analyzing areas such as discretionary spending and travel. These are just two of several initiatives our government is taking to ensure the appropriate use of public funds. I'll now turn the discussion over to my colleague, the Honourable Andrew Parsons, Minister of Justice, to discuss further initiatives we have planned under our vision.
Morning, everybody, and thank you, Minister Bennett. And continuing from her discussion, I'm just going to present a couple more examples of initiatives that we will look at with the aim of finding efficiencies within our government operations. The first one that I want to talk about is reductions to the number of government advisory boards within our current governance structure. There are currently more than 215 agencies, boards, and commissions in our province, many of these serving an advisory or regulatory role, and many of these obviously are made up of volunteers who give generously of their time and their talents. But ensuring all these entities have leadership with the necessary qualifications, skills, and abilities is not easy, and it is time-consuming. Right now, our Independent Appointments Commission actually has 52 agencies, boards, and commissions with at least one vacancy. And I can say, actually on my first day in this role, I was brought in a binder with all the justice agencies, boards, and commissions and said, here they are, and many of them hadn't had changes, their vacancies, since 2011. We believe that many of these can be merged or eliminated to achieve greater efficiency, and our goal, as you can see, is to reduce the number in this province by 20% by April 1st of 2020. These will focus on advisory, regulatory, and adjudicative boards and commissions, particularly those without permanent staff, but I will say they will not involve school districts or regional health authorities. And again, we believe that these reductions will help improve the overall administration of government activity. Secondly, we also plan to make better use of government's real estate assets. We're exploring all options to see if government-owned real estate assets can be disposed of to generate cash flow, realize operational efficiencies, and to maximize value. We're also evaluating what lease agreements can be renegotiated to benefit the province's finances. To give a sense of the size of the real estate managed by the provincial government, we currently have more than 770,000 square feet of leased office space. And our focus is on maximizing value from our real estate. This is obviously a key concern. So we have an immediate goal of reducing the provincial government's leased office space by 14,000 square feet by this March 2017. Given an average commercial rate of $25 or so a square foot, this is a significant step. And as we achieve this, we will continue to seek opportunities to reduce the amount of office space that government leases. So Minister Bennett and I have put forward 4 initiatives that are representative of our plans to reduce costs while maintaining the level of operations that are necessary to serve the people of this province. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts when we enter the discussion period, and I also want to take the opportunity to thank you for being with us, and I look forward to speaking with you. And now I will turn the proceedings back over to the Premier. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Minister Parsons. As you can see from the examples that were just given, our approach to achieving more efficient public sector operations is not about cutting for the sake of cutting. Instead, our approach is intended to achieve streamlined operations that improve the value of money achieved from your provincial government. But of course, our discussion today is not just limited to reduced spending. Addressing our fiscal situation will require stimulating the economy. Economic development and diversification has always been part of the plan and how we would achieve fiscal balance. As you'll see from the next slide, provincial GDP is mostly concentrated in a few sectors. Mining, energy, construction, manufacturing, trade, and the public sector services contribute in excess of 80% of our GDP. Clearly, there is a need to strengthen the industries that we have to diversify our provincial economy. And we have several initiatives to discuss in that regard. I will now call upon the Honourable Siobhan Cody, the Minister of Natural Resources, to speak about some of our economic development plans. Mr. Cody.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Premier. It's a pleasure to speak with so many leaders of our community, business, labor, arts sectors to address the people of the province who are watching online today. Continuing from the Premier's comments, I will share further details of significant plans to support natural resource development and foster major project activity within the province. To support development and to streamline processes, our government will create industry facilitators within the Department of Natural Resources, and these roles are going to be assigned among our existing team and staff. These individuals will liaise with companies in early stages of exploration and development to guide them through the provincial policy and regulatory frameworks to make sure that it's streamlined and productive. The industry facilitators will also connect with colleagues in other departments to ensure the companies they work with get timely support from departments across our government. Having this kind of support available to natural resource development firms will help them navigate various support and regulatory functions and will operate successfully in the province. This, in turn, will make our province more business-friendly and foster the right environment for economic activity. I've also set a specific priority for my department to stimulate development of our vital oil and gas sector. That priority is to position our province as the preferred global location for oil and gas development. Achieving this will involve many actions, including working to decrease the time from prospectivity to production, which is a major consideration for companies when making global investment decisions. We're promoting and regulatory excellence to ensure that the regulatory environment is goal-oriented and consistent with recognized global standards. Thirdly, focusing on the full life of project benefits and maximizing opportunities to the province through construction, fabrication, and supply and service activities in both the development and production phases of projects. 4, providing fiscal certainty to attract companies to assess global opportunities and to focus on innovation for the industry of the future. These directions will guide actions in my department in the interests of keeping Newfoundland and Labrador's offshore oil resources front of mind for leading players in the global industry. Another key industry in our province is mining, and we will support increased activity in the mining sector and help to maximize value through a number of initiatives. We will help increase exploration and development activity by sharing core sample information with many companies worldwide through digitization and web access. Sharing this mineral information is similar to the work our government does to promote oil and gas exploration in our offshore, as it is similar to sharing seismic data with companies around the globe. We believe this will help attract mineral exploration activity that has the potential to generate new industrial activity in the coming years. Information about our timeline for this work and our goals with respect to industry growth will be completed as we finalize our vision in the coming weeks and with your direction. Of course, promoting economic activity is not exclusively about providing supports to the industry. It can also be about making commercial activity easier. As part of supporting better relationships between business and government, our government will also establish a major projects unit. This unit will be staffed from existing resources and will help ensure a more effective and timely review process for major projects across all policy areas. This is intended to be essentially and especially helpful to organizations that will be engaged in major natural resource projects and business investment projects in the future. Essentially, the Major Projects Unit will coordinate necessary authorizations and permits for companies to facilitate approval of their projects. This will eliminate duplication and ensure shorter timelines, while guaranteeing regulatory standards are maintained or enhanced, such as environmental assessments and appropriate permits. In short, projects will happen faster, with less red tape, but with the same level of accountability as previous. This unit is expected to be launched in 2017. To continue discussion of ways our government will foster economic growth as well as regional development, I will now call on my colleague, the Honourable Eddie Joyce, Minister of Municipal Affairs, Minister of Service NL, and Minister responsible for the Government Purchasing Agency. Minister Joyce.
Thank you, Siobhan. As Minister responsible for Fire Emergency Services, I just want to express our concern for the people with the flooding. I want to take this opportunity to thank all the staff at Fire Emergency Services, Municipal Affairs and Transportation Works who are on site now assessing the damage, and also thank all the town councils, firefighters, and everybody who supported their towns in this time of need. Please be sure that our government is with you, and we will be with you to repair all the damages that happen. And my prayers and thoughts are with all the towns and the residents affected. As Minister of Municipal Affairs, I'm going to begin with an initiative for 4 communities throughout the province. We're adapting our municipal infrastructure program to prioritize shared regional infrastructure projects. This program will be aimed at helping communities build infrastructure collaborative in their region and share the services they need to achieve higher levels of services with less cost regionalization. As for example, if a number of communities in a given area agree to share the development of recreational center, our new approach would be support this collaboration. Our government will take all necessary action to enable communities to do this in 2017. Further, by 2018, our government will make legislative amendments to help support the kind of regional collaboration we want to see in regions across the province. I will now move into the conversation back to the economic development. Specifically, I want to refer back to something Premier Ball talked about in his opening remarks. Premier Ball talked about our plans to support agriculture. As Minister of Municipal Affairs, I can tell you there's a lot of interest in our province when it comes to supporting this industry and addressing food security concerns. At the most recent annual general meeting of municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador, agriculture and food security were topics of discussion. In fact, during the AGM, municipalities talked about changing land use designations to promote local food production. The provincial government also recognizes the importance of supporting farming activity and promoting food security. Our focus will be modernizing regulations and increasing the availability of Crown lands for agriculture purposes. Just on a side note, this weekend in municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador, it was stated on many occasions one of the most hidden resources we have is the Crown land, unused Crown land in our province. And there's a mandate from the Premier to get the Crown land out for use for economic development in our province. Our focus will be modernized regulations, the availability of Crown lands for agricultural purposes. At present, the provincial industry can only satisfy 10% of overall food requirements. We intend to double that by 2022, and if we get to that figure before 2022, we will push to grow the industry even more. We believe in the potential of agriculture in this province and have been supporting research and development. Our researchers are growing and evaluating new crops such as grain, soybean, wine grapes, partridge berries, cranberries, and blueberries at the Agriculture Research Station at Prince Brook. We have 2 other facilities in St. John's at Glenwood and Glenwood that are focused on increasing the productivity of potatoes. Working in close partnership with industry, I am confident we will achieve our goal. Our goal is to achieve a 20% increase in timber allocations and harvest over the last 5 years by 2020. As part of achieving that goal, our government will develop a commercial timber allocation policy that features 3 key elements. 1, preparing a clear policy that is responsive to the needs of the industry. 2, we will provide the industry with longer-term forest management agreements and more access to forest resources to help lend stability to the industry. Industry asks for this, and we're responding to their needs. 3, we will focus on developing and awarding timber sale agreements on Crown lands. Specified parcels in approved harvest areas will be sold to the highest bidders from the industry to generate revenue for the government. Our support to the oil and gas, mining, agriculture, and forest industries are just a few examples of our plans to stimulate economic growth and business activity. At this time, I'd like to speak to further about something about our colleague Minister Cody mentioned. We want to make it easier to do business in this province. As part of that, we're going to introduce a new procurement legislation this fall. This will directly benefit the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, the municipalities, and the business community in our provinces. The Public Tendering Act governs the provincial government, crown corporations, and municipal governments buy goods and services. It was first enacted in 1984, but there has not been substantial amendments since then. The legislation needs updating to ensure the best value is always achieved by following procurement rules. Companies selling to governments have long requested changes to the legislation, and municipalities have also sought changes. In short, our new legislation will allow the provincial government and municipal governments to buy smarter and faster, achieve savings, and engage in more commercial activities with businesses. But of course, in order to foster economic growth, you need more than just industry support and good legislation. You also need strong infrastructure. I would now call on my colleague, the Honourable Al Hawkins, Minister of Transportation and Work, to speak about infrastructure.
Thank you, Minister Joyce. I'd just like to echo what Minister Joyce had mentioned, that while we're here this morning, there are many of our communities that are going through some very difficult challenges today. And as soon as this session is finished, I will be heading out to central Newfoundland, because a lot of communities that's in my area certainly has been affected by the rain. So we certainly want to think about those this morning. I'm very pleased to speak to you today about some of our ambitious plans regarding the provincial infrastructure. As mentioned by the Premier in his opening remarks, our government will be the first in our province's history to deliver a multi-year infrastructure plan to the public in advance of the budget. An updated rolling 5-year plan will be released each year. This will outline our commitments to education, to health, buildings, and road infrastructure over the next 5 years. This will be beneficial in many ways. For the construction industry, it will provide predictability to better inform planning that helps the provincial government build infrastructure in a timely and cost-effective manner. For those employed in the construction industry, they will have a better understanding of infrastructure work that's coming up and any potential employment opportunities. And finally, it will provide greater clarity and transparency for the public about how public money will be invested. Continuing with our infrastructure plans, I want to talk about the transportation infrastructure. As you know, one of the most significant annual infrastructure investments is in roads and bridges. Our government will continue with an enhanced evidence-based approach to decision-making on road projects, a process that will first began this year in Budget 2016 and has finally taken the politics out of roads decisions. Projects are now prioritized, taking into consideration traffic volumes, safety, socioeconomic impact, and public input. In the coming weeks, we will begin this year's process to seek public input on priority road projects. Beginning in 2017, in January of each year, we will release a full list of road projects for the upcoming year, and we will project the anticipated projects for the following 4 years. Before I conclude, I want to talk about the link between building infrastructure and supporting specific industries. Our government will make the needs of our tourism industry a key consideration in our decisions about infrastructure investments. Our province's growing tourism industry is a driver of small business in Newfoundland and Labrador. In some regions, it also represents significant potential for economic diversification. The province's marketing efforts have helped make Newfoundland and Labrador a well-known destination. Continued improvements to tourism-related infrastructure are critical to ensuring that quality experiences for our visitors. As part of maintaining the industry's momentum, our government will release a 5-year plan for marine-related infrastructure that will focus on making improvements. This will benefit the traveling public while also taking into account tourism contributions and considerations, such as tourist requirements and routes with high tourism volumes. I am pleased to tell you this plan will be put in place in 2017. As we are now on the topic of tourism, I feel this is an ideal time for me to hand over the proceedings to my colleague, the Honourable Christopher Mitchamore, Minister of Business, Culture, Tourism, and Rural Development.
Thank you, Minister Hawkins, and I'm pleased to open my comments today with a discussion on how we will further develop our province's world-class tourism industry. One of the most important initiatives that we will undertake that we have planned is the implementation of new provincial tourism product development plans. Product development is vital to maintaining strong tourist visitation in the years to come. A key to successful tourism product development is offering unique travel experiences that are desired by travelers and that complement the provincial brand. Our product development plan will build on the province's core experience categories of nature and wilderness, people and culture, and history and heritage. The plan will include priorities based on common themes identified across all regions, including food and tourism, unique geology, and craft product development for the tourism industry. In addition, our government is excited about the opportunities related to Aboriginal heritage attractions, Aboriginal art and crafts, and Aboriginal festivals, and we are committed to partnering to develop those opportunities. I am eager to work with industry players throughout the province to implementing this plan, and we will contribute to our ultimate goal of doubling resident and non-resident visitor spending by 2020. This goal is solidly behind the tourism industry in achieving that goal. Continuing the tourism promotion and promotion of the arts, the government will recognize the contribution of artists to both the cultural and economic fabric of the province by introducing Status of the Artist legislation. This legislation will enhance the recognition and support of the status of the artist in the province. Our government believes that the key areas to investigate regarding the scope of this legislation and other policy areas to support artists include fair payment guidelines. These would be the guidelines for fair payment and declaration of supporting artists in the province. Benefits enhancements. This would involve ways to increase access and/or enhance benefits such as medical, drug plan, dental insurance, and retirement savings. Revitalized cultural export. This would involve redeveloping an export plan to enhance access to markets. An awareness program. This would involve developing the awareness program for the arts and artists. And digital media enhancement. This would involve developing digital media supports by by bringing together technical experts and artists on a continuous and ongoing manner. I look forward to developing the legislation with feedback from stakeholders, and I also want to note that our government will also release a new provincial cultural plan. This is a previous plan that was developed 10 years ago, so it's about time we get back and introduce a new cultural plan. So I look forward to working with people in the cultural sector on developing that plan. Over the course of this morning, we have talked about some ways that we will reduce spending, our plans to stimulate growth in specific sectors, our initiatives aimed at facilitating business transactions, and efforts to advance tourism and culture. I will conclude my comments today by talking about a special initiative that government will pursue to foster innovation here at home. Our government will introduce a new concept by the end of 2017 called Regional Innovation Systems Pilot Projects. This idea is focused at bringing business together with regional development resources in a region to achieve more together than they might alone. This could, for example, involve bringing together a university, municipalities, and an industry association in a specific region of the province to bolster economic activity in a given sector. Innovation is often dependent on individuals and organizations sharing and creating knowledge. The pilots we develop in various areas of the province will focus on increasing the connectivity of players in a region, rather than just supporting each individual player. We look forward to selecting regions of the province for these pilots. Once regions are selected, we will work with stakeholders to tailor the design of these projects and to the need of the area, because each will be based on the circumstances of that region. Our government is excited about the potential of this initiative and the opportunity to discuss it here with you today. It complements our current efforts to reset the provincial innovation agenda, which is to expand the pool and capacity of Newfoundland and Labrador's economic wealth generation, and that is innovation and growth-focused business. Starting in the coming weeks, we will be seeking input to advance and advice from the innovation community about the supports and resources that are required to measurably advance innovation in new and established firms, along with how to best measure success in this regard. I will now turn the proceedings over to Premier Ball to conclude this morning's session. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Minister Mitchemore, and all the ministers who have presented so far today, and I can assure you, you will hear from the remaining ministers here to my left in this afternoon sessions as well. So over the course of our discussion this morning, we have talked about specific aspects of provincial government's approach to addressing our fiscal realities from multiple angles. Now the time has come for you to provide your feedback. In a moment, we will go to breakout rooms to discuss the merits of the ideas that have been presented. You will also have the opportunity to raise anything you think that may have been missed. Discussion will be guided by documents that you will be given and will be assisted by facilitators in the room. So I encourage you to participate fully and share your unique perspectives on any and all of the ideas that have been presented so far today. Your thoughts will help shape the important decisions by our government for years to come. So thank you, enjoy your sessions, and we look forward to that feedback.
Well, now, that was a lot of information. And I know you all have lots of ideas and things to say. I saw many of you taking notes during the presentations, which is fantastic. We want you to hang on to those ideas for just a couple of more minutes. We've structured a day to allow each and every one of you to have an opportunity to share your own unique viewpoints, but also to engage in a conversation with each other about the vision and the initiatives that you've heard today, about your reaction to them, and about your own ideas on how to navigate forward. As the Premier said, this is a very diverse group of people. You represent a variety of sectors and interests. Each one of you has skills and knowledge and expertise that is relevant to the topics that the Premier and Minister have shared today. Many of you come with particular stakeholder perspectives that is critical to these conversations, and we're eager to receive that insight. But all of us come here today as citizens of this amazing province, and as the Premier said, we are all invested in its success. So feel comfortable that you can contribute to all of the discussion topics today, not just those most relevant to your stakeholder hat if you're wearing one. Maybe as a business leader, as a president of an association or an organization, but also as a parent, as a caregiver, or as a consumer of public services. If you look at the back of your name tag, you've all been assigned to one of 5 breakout rooms in the facility today. Classrooms A and B and the theater are located on level 2, and Archives A and B are here to my left on this floor. I will note, however, there's no food and beverage permitted in the Archives A and B. Once in your rooms, as the Premier mentioned, you'll find additional information, including a discussion guide, to help frame your conversations and facilitators to support the process and capture your ideas. Each room will be discussing the same topics, so don't worry that you're missing out on a better conversation in another room. And we will also be sharing and reporting back to you through the day what's being said. That information will be shared here to those of you in the facility with us, but also made available publicly online for others to be aware of as well. We're going to take a brief 15-minute break as you move to your assigned rooms. There is refreshment stations outside your breakout areas, so please help yourself to a light refreshment on the way, and those are located on level 2 and level 3. We will begin the first discussion promptly at 10:20. So off you go to your breakout rooms. Keep all those ideas. Don't give them all away before you get in there, and have a productive and rich discussion.